Hey there, this is Matt with Defense Innovations, and today we are shooting the new DPMS REPR. It's a variant of their AR-10 or LR-308 series. One of the few things you'll notice right off the bat, this gun's already been Cerakoted, which comes that way from DPMS. But for this part of the video, we're just going to do shooting, and we'll do the garage review probably here in the next day or so, and then merge it all into one video. So you may see a few things added or removed, but the overall part of the gun will be the same. We've got two magazines here. We've got one that's loaded with this Perfecta 308. It is 147 grain. I picked this up at Walmart. I've seen a lot of people talking about it. I believe it's Fiocchi or Fiocchi or however you say it. I believe this is their brand. So I've had good luck with their handgun calibers, but I haven't shot any of their rifle calibers. The other magazine that we'll be shooting is Federal XM80. Nothing real special. 7.62x51mm, 149 grain. I picked this up, I think they sell this at Dick's and Walmart and probably all your major websites. As we've probably edited in by now, about 125, 150 yards away are two 9-inch diameter, 1.25 inch thick steel plates, A36 grade. The 308 7.62x51 will not penetrate that plate, but it will put a pretty good sized dent in it, as you'll see. And they're painted fluorescent yellow. And we do have a remote camera downrange, and I'm hoping to put some clips of that in. So we'll get started here. The first magazine will be the Perfecta, and we'll do a few shots out of that and just see what we can hit. We're on safe. Gonna try for the left target first. We are on fire. That was a hit. We're a little high because the target has fallen over. That one was a graze. You can see it through the scope. That one was a hit. That one was a hit as well. Since we've already dropped the first target, I'm going to go ahead and clear the gun and switch to the Federal just so we can see what the Federal round will do to the target on the right. That was a hit. Hit. There's another hit. And we are rounds complete. So, weapons clear. We can go take a look and see what we did. Gonna try something a little different. We'll try the walking point of view camera here as we're walking up from the porch up here to the target area. I was just thinking as I was recalling the shot order here, and we should probably be able to see this in the remote camera, was the Perfecta ammo, just that old cheapo Fiocchi 140 something grain, 147, 149. That actually seemed to be more accurate than the Federal 7.62x51, which I think was a 149 or 150. But we'll see. 120 yards for an AR-10 or 308 kind of platform is not very far. Fortunately, as you can see, it's kind of hilly, and so we only have line of sight to make safe shots around 125 yards, so that's just a safety choice. So, and as we're walking up to the targets here, we can see the Fiocchi, as before the plate fell over, was a pretty good little grouping. And then looks like the Federal over here was digging to the center of the earth as it was impacting short of the target here and shooting all of our rocks all over the place. And then our remote camera's behind the rocks here, so hopefully it's still in one piece. Pretty cool little craters that leaves as the dirt's filled them in from the short rounds. Let's see if we can get this one on here. There's that one. They're pretty gnarly. That does a little bit of damage at that range. So anyway, we will go ahead and blend this in with our garage review. This part of the video here, we're going to be in the garage. We're just talking about what you get out of the box, what I've added, and what will fit you best as a shooter, and any other mods that might work better for you. This is how the rifle is set up for me and how it works for me. That doesn't mean that it's the way that it'll work for you. Just to make everybody abundantly clear, this rifle is unloaded, no magazine in, chamber is clear. Okay, so let's talk about what you're going to get when you get this rifle from DPMS or your distributor. You're going to unbox this rifle after paying a pretty penny for it. I will admit it is fairly expensive. The MSRP on this thing is from like $2,450 to $2,800. I've just seen it across all the different price ranges here. The gun is chambered in both 308 and 7.62x51. I know there's some people, you know, they go back and forth about 223, 5.56. This one will fire both of your 30 caliber class rounds. The weight right out of the box with none of these goodies on it is 9.75 pounds. Your overall length, depending on how you set up your Magpul PRS stock, is anywhere from 36.5 inches to 40 1/4. Looking at the barrel, it is an 18-inch heavy barrel. It's 416 stainless, non-chrome lined, which if you're looking for a precision rifle, you're looking for something like that. If you're running, you know, a battle rifle variant in a 308 platform, you might want a chrome lined barrel because you're just going for volume of fire essentially, not necessarily high-end accuracy. Looking at the upper receiver, it is an extruded 7000 series aluminum, 7029 T6 actually. It is what's considered an A3 flat top, and the twist rate on that barrel is 1 to 10, which worked for me for my purposes. Again, let's go ahead and start at the front. This gun actually came with a AAC flash suppressor, hider, whatever you want to call it. You heard that ping in the background. That was the ping of this. It does ping quite a lot. If that bothers any of you, I know I've got a couple buddies who that would drive insane. I took this off because I'm not really a three-prong flash kind of guy. I'm a surefire brake kind of guy. So I switched that off. Now I got to sell it. If anyone's interested, message me. So I went with the Surefire brake because it is compatible with the SOCOM series 7.62 suppressors, which hopefully I will get someday soon. A video to come. We are running the Atlas Bipod with the ADM mount, which is great because they're an expensive bipod. That's like a $300 bipod, and I swap it between guns. I do have Harris bipods that are good, but they're just not as good as this one. And until I can justify, having a couple more and having $900 worth of bipods, I'm just swapping the one between a couple different precision rifles and putting the mid or low grade Harris ones on the other guns. One of the things I noticed too, I went with the Tango Down handguards. I really like the texturing here, and the reason I went with that is these rails, anyone who's had quad rails will tell you that they can cut up your hands. I mean, if you reach up there or you hit your knuckles on it, I mean, I've cut up knuckles like crazy. So I got 2 of them, 1 for each side. I did get a 3rd one initially because I was going to put it on the bottom. I opened this one right out of the box and this lip snapped right off. So that would be my word of advice on the Tango Down grips, was be gentle, because that was a $25 mistake right there. So try not to do that. One of the things right out of the box that I really liked about this gun, for those of you who don't know, I am left-handed. So this gun was fully ambidextrous. So I'm operating the safety from the other side. Also, your magazine can come free that way as well. I did, however, swap out the charging handles. It just came with kind of a standard, AR-15 style. That's what's in here now. I did switch to the Bravo Company 7.62 charging handle. There is a difference between the 5.56 and the 7.62. This one's much beefier and longer. It did come with the PRS stock, as you can see. And the only thing I did with that is I switched out the butt pad at the end. Magpul makes another one that's, gosh, it's probably 2 or 3 times as thick, and it does help absorb the recoil a lot more. I switched out the standard black trigger guard for the Magpul one. That one was the same as the AR-15 model, so you're good to go there. I'm trying to think. Obviously, quad rail attachments, any Picatinny attachments will work on here. This is an ADM mount with 30mm rings, which I've used on a couple different guns. I've actually picked up another ADM mount because I'm going to get another Vortex scope here, but I'll talk about that in a few minutes. It came from the factory with the Hogue grip, which is okay. I will swap that out eventually. I just haven't found one that I really like yet, because it doesn't come up here on the tang, and I've heard some guys complain of getting pinched. If you're getting pinched, in my opinion, that pistol grip is not screwed in tight enough to your receiver frame. Okay, inside the gun, I did go with the JP Enterprises silent catchment back here in the buffer, which I'll put a link on there and put a picture on there. What that is, it's essentially a giant spring in the back that works better to absorb recoil, and it's quiet. If any of you have just the standard buffer system in here with the spring, I can hear my spring just absolutely rattling around in there. And that's both AR-10 and AR-15 platforms for me. So I switched that out. Weight-wise, they're pretty close. This one being a little bit heavier, but again, since this was a designated marksman rifle for me, not a battle rifle, quote-unquote, weight was not my primary objective. Accuracy, obviously, was my first objective. Ease of use, aka ambidextrous, the extended charging handle, my ADM mounts for quick release, that all played into ease of use. And then overall recoil performance, which is why I switched to the Surefire brake, and I went with the silent buffer system in the back. There is a Timney trigger in here. For those of you who've seen some of my other videos, Timney triggers, I swear by them. I've never had a single issue with them. I've probably got 5 or 6 of them in my AR platforms, and just this one in this AR-10 platform. So that's really nice. I didn't find a 3-pound. I run the 3-pound trigger in my other ARs. In the AR-10, I only found the 4-pound. which was nice. I mean, it's super crisp. There's no slack in it at all. It comes with a 2-stage trigger that I thought was atrocious, personally. I mean, you almost had to, you'd get on the trigger and you'd pull, and you'd have like a ½ inch of slack before you'd even engage. So I don't really care for that. If you don't have enough memory to know, enough muscle memory to know when you're on your trigger, you got to work on that. I just like as soon as I get on the trigger, I like to be on it and pull it and go. And I don't want the slack in there because I'm afraid to pull one way or the other. Talking about the optics on here. This is a Vortex Viper 6.5 by 20. And it's a 44 wide objective, and it is a mil dot in MOA, which this scope was purchased a while ago before first and second focal plane were a big deal. Unfortunately, this scope is second focal plane, which brings me back to getting a new scope. I am going to be getting the Vortex 6x24 PST with the illuminated reticle and the EBR1 reticle here in the next couple weeks or so. Just, you know, working on it. This would be an expensive project, and unless you've got, you know, trunk load of cash, you can't just do it all in one day. But this scope, for the purposes I've used it at, I mean, I've shot it from 100 to 300 yards, and this scope is perfectly fine. I think when you get out past 300, 400, 500 yards, I can definitely see where the first focal plane would be much more beneficial, because then your reticle, the holdovers are accurate, whatever your magnification is. On this particular scope, the magnification is only spot on at 14 power. So you kind of have to be a little bit mindful of that and pay attention to where your magnification setting is. Having said that, I've made pretty long range shots with this scope on this rifle and the 5.56 Mark 12 SPR that I have. It's worked just fine. I haven't had any issues. So we'll see. I'll get into the first focal plane and see how I like it. Other than that, just looking at it, I don't see anything else that is absolutely imperative to share. This gun was very tight out of the box. The tolerances were incredible. I will give DPMS a round of applause. And for all of you DPMS haters out there, this is our third DPMS rifle in our household. And this is a household that has Bravo Company, Daniel Defense, Spikes Tactical Guns. DPMS, while they're not the glorious high-end guns that everyone thinks Spikes and Daniels and Bravo are, this gun is awesome. I mean, it performs well. In a previous video about a year ago, I shot a suppressed LaRue OBR, and I shot this one a few times over the last couple weeks, and I felt like they were pretty much performing the same. I mean, the LaRue was awesome because it was suppressed, and so the recoil was even less. And the owner of that gun, you know, he really knows what he's doing, and so that one felt just slightly better. But side by side, if you had the same person shooting them, I mean, I think that you'd be pretty close. And this is $1,000 or more cheaper than the LaRue, and a little bit more readily available. I mean, you're not going to go down to your local gun shop and see one of these sitting on the shelves, so probably have to order it. But it's worth it to me, because if you come in $1,000 or $1,200 under budget, that leaves you money to go get your optics or get upgrades like I've put on it. We ran 2 DPMS oracles, and that's actually like the most popular video on this channel, with over 125,000 hits. The guns are inexpensive and they work. However, this gun was not inexpensive, but it does work very well. You can get into some of the DPMS 308s for like $1,200. Like I said, this gun MSRP is between $24 and $28, depending on who is selling it to you. You know, like I said, so a lot of guys are saying, well, why don't I go with an $1,800 version, or why don't I go with the Ruger, Ruger 7.62? Well, the Ruger 7.62, in my opinion, is still a good rifle, but it's a battle rifle version of an AR-10. It is not a precision rifle. The barrel length is one thing that bothers me with that gun. It only comes in a 16-inch barrel, does not come in an 18 or a 20, which for precision work is, I mean, that's a deal breaker for me. So I wanted to go with this. Plus, this gun was already Cerakoted in this desert tan, FDE, whatever you want to call it, color, which means you're compatible with all of the other accessories out there that come in FDE or desert tan. So you get that, plus you get a PRS stock. Depending on where you're buying that, that's $250 to $300, and to take your gun apart and have it Cerakoted, that's another $300 or $400. So let's average that out. Let's say $600 between the stock and the Cerakote, and another $150 for your Cerakoted quad rail. I mean, geez, you're already at $750. So $750 minus, let's say you get it for $25, you're coming in just a couple $100 more expensive than your Ruger with a precision barrel. You've got a precision muzzle device. This thing does come with a bipod, not the bipod that's on there. Speaking of which, it actually came with the Harris bipod. Still a good bipod. Fully ambidextrous out of the box. You know, I mean, it is more expensive, and I do understand that. A lot of guys tell me they're going with the other ones. But I think you get what you pay for. The only other things that I recommend, I use the Magpul mags. I use the 20 round. And the 10 round when I'm shooting from a bench. Again, just talking about how people don't like DPMS. I think they're uninformed, and I think they're only looking at the monetary value that's on a gun. This gun is performing very well for us. You know, at 60% of the cost of an LWRC or a LaRue, or God forbid a Knight's Armament 7.62. You're gonna be looking at a lot of money there. I mean, we'll just see. The time will be the true test for this gun, and see how it holds up, see how it performs in 6 months or a year with 500 or 1,000 rounds through it. I think it's going to perform very well. So I would say to anyone who would tell me I'm dumb for buying a DPMS 7.62 rifle, I'd say look at my other rifles. I mean, I've got Bravo Company rifles, I've got Daniels rifles, I've got Spikes rifles. You know, we know what these rifles are capable of here at Defense Innovations, and I'll tell you, this one, for the money, best deal. Honestly, it is. You're going to pay more than just your standard low-range 308. When you're looking at any entry-level ones that are, in the mid, 1500s to 2000 range, you're going to pay $500-600 more for this, but you're going to get the additional items that I talked about, and those are already going to be included in the box when it comes out. Not to mention, one thing with the DPMS is you're running full AR-10 compatibility. Your gas system, there's nothing on this gun that's proprietary. That was something that turned me away from the LWRC. That, along with the wait time, turned me away from the LaRue. The same thing with the Knights. I mean, my God, everything about that Knights rifle is proprietary. So if something goes wrong with this rifle, if I find another AR-10 or find AR-10 components, I know they're going to work. You don't always know that with a gun, such a high-speed gun that's got proprietary parts. It's, in my opinion, this is like an American-made vehicle. You can go down and find parts for it, wherever you want, and they're easy and they're relatively inexpensive. You go with a LaRue, you go with a Knights, you go with an LWRC. You're buying a Ferrari, and you're paying Ferrari price and Ferrari parts and Ferrari service. Now, it's awesome, don't get me wrong, but you know what? If you've got, a Dodge or a Chevy, whatever sports car you want to call in the US, and it's got the same horsepower and performance, you line it up on a drag strip next to a Ferrari, they're going to go the same speed. Or you can make them to go the same speed. Then you're just paying for the name on the side of the car, the name on the side of the gun. Again, I'll get off my DPMS soapbox. I do believe for this market, for this price point, you can't beat it. Thanks for watching.